starting with the growth rates. How do you get your growth rate when you are not given in that question for demand forecasting? So today we are going to be looking at all the different dimensions that demand forecasting will take. Therefore, we are going to be considering the topic growth rate and logistics system. That's what we are going to be considering this evening, growth rate and logistics system. And the relevance of growth rate to logistics system is encased in the fact that logistics system on its own is that network, since it is the network that manages the flow of goods, information, and resources from origin to destination within a supply chain, ensuring efficiency and timely delivery. It is because of the fact that logistics system is ensuring and it is managing the flow of goods, information, and services. So it is in the aspect of flow management of goods, information, and resources. It is because of that management that it becomes very important for us to be able to estimate the growth rates for the sake of that flow as given in the definition of logistics system. So if you carefully see the logistics system, which the course is all about, you will see that for us to be able to manage it properly, there is a need for us to understand how we can estimate the growth rates. If you understand how you can estimate growth rates, you are already doing a subset of the network management. So that aspect of the network, which is the logistics system that manages the flow, is where the growth rate comes in. It is part of the management of the flow because logistics system is a network and there must definitely be a flow associated with it. So now, if you remember the formula carefully, the simple one that I gave you, you will see that there is a place for R. Could someone kindly confirm that there is a place for R that I had to give you? But if you are not giving R, you could be giving the old value and the new value, and you use the difference in between them to get your growth rates. Could you confirm that somebody asked whether I will be giving growth rate or not? So today I'm telling you that in case you are not giving a growth rate, I want to explain how you get the growth rates. Can you see this, class? Can you see the R here? So this is the R that we are discussing as a topic today. So I don't know if you can relate from here. So there are just 3 or 4 steps that we have to consider. There are 3 or 4 steps. There are basically 4 steps for us to determine the growth rates. Now, in your organization, you have, I love to use the word item and item because it could be anything. In your organization, you have the new item value and you have the old item value. So what you need to do is that you need to subtract the old from the new. If, for example, let's say you have 50 in the new item value and you have 30 in the old item value, what will be the value of new item value minus old item value? The number of items you had before now was 30. The new one is 50. What is the difference between the new and the old?
20.
Thank you. That is 20. What is the old? Look at this. Look at this, for example. I hope you can confirm my cursor here. That means this is 50 minus this is 30. You have what?
20.
So all over old value. Old value is what?
30.
Old value is 30. The new value is 50 minus the old. Give us 20. Am I correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
20 divided by old value. Old value is what?
30.
So you have 20 over 30. What is 20 over 30?
0.666.
Multiply by 100. Use
Yes,
it
sir.
as 6.66 as your growth rate. So by the time you want to compute for this particular place in the application, in the forecasting demand that we are going to, this will now become the percentage. This will now become what I'm saying is that for you to estimate the growth rates, you need to identify your new item value. What is the new item value? 50. What is the old item value?
30.
So 50 minus 30 divided by the old value, 30,
0.67 approximately.
Now, multiply by 100.
67.
67. That is your growth rate. Just a street value on the spot value that we have used to get this. So now let's look at the steps that you will use to get your R in case you are asked to do the simple estimation. Now, the first one is to determine the old value. The old value is equals to the initial value of those items, and you also need to determine the new value. You are getting 30,000 order, now you are having 50,000 order. So the new is the 50,000 order, the old is the 30,000 order. That's why it is new minus old. Secondly, you have to subtract the old value from the new value to find the difference. So that means you are identifying the old here, you are identifying the new here. Secondly, you are now doing 50,000 minus 30,000. Okay, so when you do that, the next thing you do is to divide the difference by the old, which we did here. Did you see that we talked about it here? The difference divided by the old. Look at it here. Can you see the division sign here? Old item value. That's fine. So that whatever the product is, it can fit in. When you divide it by the old, what do you now do next? You now do multiply the results by 100 to express the growth rate as a percentage. So now look at this. Look at the example. Suppose a logistics organization's revenue grew from $100,000 to $120,000. Estimate the growth rates. Could you quickly do this as a classwork? Now, I believe you have solved it. Am I correct?
Yes, it's 20%.
Look at what we said earlier. The formula is new minus old, okay? Because we want to check the growth rates. The difference will be divided by old because it is from old that we are coming. Then it will be multiplied by 100 for us to be able to put it in the unit of measurement in percentage. That is why we have these 4 stages, which you have on your screen and which we have discussed. You deduct the old from the new for us to have the difference. Then you now divide it by the old value. The new, you deduct the old from it. Look at it here. Subtract the old from the new. Number 2, you identify the old and new first. That's number 1. Number 2 is that you subtract the old from the new. That is why we are subtracting the $100,000 from $120,000. Do you understand it here?
Yes,
Up to this point. Do you understand it up to this point, class? So you now divide the difference by 100. That is why, look at what I've done here. The old, okay, from the new. Can you see the movement on your screen? In that respect, you now divide it by, what's this item value for? What is it standing for? New or old?
Old.
Very correct. Old. Everybody's on the same page. I'm happy about that. So what did you get when you do $120,000 minus $100,000?
20,000.
So you divide it by 100, right?
Yes.
$100,000.
Yes.
When you divided it, you get, what value did you get?
0.2.
Then multiply by 100. We give you how many? So you can see that those, all of you that got 20%, you are very correct. So do you understand that now? So we can move on from the growth rates. In line with what you identified, it could be, majorly it's usually a year, but it could be more than a year. It's but the question could come, you can look at it by month. Then this is just to let you know that it is possible that you have compound annual growth rates, the CAGR. That's why I'm giving you these types of growth rates, that when you come across the different types of growth rates, you could have it as AGR, you could have it as CAGR. So that one calculates growth rate over a year. The CAGR, we calculate growth rate over multiple years. That's the compound annual growth rate, and it is taking into account the compounding factors. Then the applications here are, number 1, for business, to calculate your revenue, your profit, whether it is in terms of customers' growth. It could be applied to any aspect. Then the second aspect of the application of the growth rate is the number B, which is economics. You can use it to calculate the GDP, the inflation, the employment growth. Then the finance, you could, but I will try as much as possible to apply it to the logistics aspects to make it to concentrate on our business, which is the logistics and supply chain. Now, kindly note that by calculating growth rates, you can analyze trends, make informed decisions, and evaluate performance with that. So today, we are able to establish the fact that the growth rates is clear now. So if you have a question and you are not giving the growth rates, and the question is requesting you to use the simple formula for demand forecasting, I believe you can handle it, and you are using this particular formula. I hope it is clear how you will get your growth rate, class.
Yes, sir.
So with these few points of mine, I hope I've been able to convince you and not to confuse you. Thank you so much for your cooperation.